So we want to try and get the very highest grades in our A-level business exams. We know that those longer answer questions are going to be a challenge. Well, in this tutorial, we're going to give you our top 3 tips to make sure that you wow examiners in long answer questions. Tip number 1, and this is going to sound obvious, but it is our most important piece of advice. Answer the question. Now, it sounds ridiculous. Why would any student plow into an answer with the intention of not actually addressing what's being asked in the question? But it is the single most common mistake students will make in their exam. Examiners, as they're marking them, will put a little phrase at the side, NAQ, not answering question. And here's what goes wrong for students. They clock what the topic is that's asked about in the question, and rather than answer that question directly, they will just tell the examiner everything they know about that topic. You've got to filter your knowledge in the exams. You've got to be specific. You've got to answer the question that has been asked, not just tell the examiner every single thing you know about that topic, whether it's relevant to the question or not. So there's tip number 1. We've got to make sure that we're answering the question and staying on topic. Tip number 2, timings. We've got to think really carefully about how long we are going to spend on a question. And the enemy of students is the question that they are really enjoying answering and feeling like that answer is going really, really well. Students can blow their entire exam on that one question that's going really well. So here's the thing. We want to try and stick approximately to spending 1 minute on a question for every mark that it is worth. So a 16-mark question, we want to try and spend approximately 16 minutes on there. But we want to try and break it down even further than that. We want to make sure that when we're answering 16 to 20-mark questions, that we're getting through all 3 sections that we want to talk about. A point in support of the question, a point countering the question, an alternative point, and our evaluative conclusion as well. So if we're going to try and spend 16 minutes on a 16-mark question, we want to try and split that up there. So we're just spending maybe roughly 5 minutes on our first section, roughly 5 minutes on our second section, roughly 5 minutes on our evaluative section, and then we've got a little bit of minutes overtime that we can assign to any of those particular paragraphs. But be really conscious of time in that exam. There's no cause to blow your whole examination for the sake of one question. Don't come out of there looking up at the clock thinking, I've just spent 30 minutes on a 16-mark question. There goes your qualification. Tip number 3, apply. Now that sounds another basic idea. Of course I'm going to apply my exam. My teacher is banging on about it all of the time. But by the time we hit the exam hall, we are going to be like a highly honed business machine. You are going to have done so much preparation, so much revision that you are going to know the topics on the syllabus inside out. And the temptation that we can fall into when we feel like we know the syllabus inside out is that our knowledge starts to drown out our other exam skills and we forget the basics. So you've been told for several months now, we must be applying our answers. Remember that advice on the day and think about our good ways of showing the examiner application, talking about the business's problems, talking about the business's circumstances, what the business is going through, talking about the business's objectives. This advice is relevant because this business in this case study is trying to achieve this. This is why my answer is apply. And wherever we can use numbers and facts and figures and data, getting some quantitative application into our answers, seize that opportunity. So often in exams, students stick to the text of a case study and they ignore any appendices that might follow the case study with tables of data in to do with finance, HR, operations. Data is your friend. It's a real quick and surefire way of making sure that the advice that you are offering is tailored to the business in the case study. So there's our top 3 tips. It would be rude to send you away without a bonus tip. So a bonus tip, don't forget your chains of analysis. It's perhaps the most important part of the outline of your 16 to 20 mark answers. Those chains of analysis are what are going to allow you to really show the examiner that you understand the topic that the question is on and that you can approach it from different angles. It's going to show the examiner that you understand the impacts of the advice that you're giving there. And by building up the chains, it's going to show examiners that you're worthy of the very highest grades, because not only are you throwing out scattergun analytical ideas, you can build up arguments, you can link points together, you can show cause and effect of your ideas. It's what's going to make sure that on the day we're the students that are getting the highest grades when they are dished out. So hope you like that tutorial. Stay tuned for more exam skills tips. In the meantime, very best of luck with your business studies revision.